The sun was setting over the busy streets of Lagos. Inside a small one-room apartment, David was sitting at a wooden table. He was tired. He had spent 10 hours driving a delivery van in heavy traffic. Now he was staring at a laptop screen, trying to learn how to write computer code. His wife, Faith, stood by the window. She was looking at the expensive cars driving past their building. She was wearing a cheap dress, but she carried herself as if she was a queen. Like a queen, she said she was. She was very beautiful, and she knew that she was beautiful. As for David, the poor guy whom she had gotten married to. David, Faith said. Her voice was full of anger. The fan is broken again. It is too hot in this room. I cannot live like this anymore. David looked up from his computer. His eyes were red from ever staring at the screen. I know, Faith. I'll fix it tomorrow. I just need to finish this lesson. If I pass this exam, I can get a job at a big tech company. They pay millions of naira. Just give me 6 months, 6 more months, and I'm going to be okay. Faith turned around. She looked at the small bed, the tiny kitchen, and the old shoes in the corner. 6 months, so you say. You said that 6 months ago. Look at my friend, Sandra. Her husband just bought her a new iPhone and a Mercedes. They go to Dubai for vacation, and what do? I sit here and watch you type on your broken laptop. Sandra's husband is an old man who does not care about her, my love, David said quietly. I love you, Faith. I am working 2 jobs for us. I drive all day and I study all night. Please just be patient with me. I am tired of patience, Faith shouted. Patience does not buy designer bags. Patience does not pay for a house in Lekki. I am young and I'm beautiful. I feel as if I am wasting my life with just a delivery driver. She walked to the wardrobe and then she pulled out a suitcase. David stood up. His heart was beating so fast. Faith, what are you doing? I am leaving, she said. She started throwing her clothes into the bag. You know what? I don't love you anymore. I met a man yesterday at the mall. His name is Chief Benson. He has 5 houses. He told me that a woman like me should be sleeping on silk sheets, not on a thin mattress. David felt a sharp pain in his chest. You are leaving me for a man you just met because of money. You're not serious, are you? Faith zipped her bag. She looked at David one last time and then she said, No, David, I am leaving you because you are poor. You are poor and I don't think that you'll ever be rich one day. So goodbye. She walked out of the door. She slammed it behind her. David sat back down. He did not cry. He just turned back to his laptop and then started typing and typing again. He had nothing left but his work. Faith moved into a massive mansion with Chief Benson. It was a happy time for her. For the first year, her life was like a movie. Chief Benson gave her a credit card that had no limit. She had never seen a credit card in her entire life. She would buy all the things that she wanted. She would be online shopping on Shein all day long, all night long, going to expensive restaurant. She bought expensive wigs, gold jewelry, and shoes that would cost more than David's annual salary. She spent her days at expensive spas and her nights at the most popular clubs. She blocked David's number. She even changed her social media handles so that he could not find her ever again. She wanted to erase her poor past, but the life with Chief Benson was not perfect. He was a very mean guy. He told Faith what to wear and who to talk to. He often shouted at her in front of his friends. "You are only here because you are pretty," he told her one night when she was complaining about his late night parties. "If you lose your looks, I will throw you out like trash. You need to remember that. You have to remember that." Faith was scared, but she looked at her diamond ring. Then she decided to stay. She thought that money was the most important thing in the world. She did not realize that Chief Benson had 3 other girlfriends in different cities. 2 years passed. One morning, Faith woke up to find 2 large security men in her room. "Chief says you must leave," the tall guard said. "What? Why?" Faith asked. She was confused. "He has a new lady that is coming today, madam. She is 20 years old and she is a model. He said you are getting old and you complain too much, so you need to pack your things now." Faith tried to call Chief Benson, but he had already blocked her. The guards took her phone, her jewelry, and the keys to the car that he had given her. They told her that everything belonged to the chief. She was allowed to take only her clothes in a small bag. In 1 hour, Faith went from living in a palace to standing on the street with nothing. Faith tried to call her rich friends, the ones she met at the clubs. "Hello, Sandra, it's Faith. I need a place to stay for a few days," she said. "Faith, I heard. What happened?" Sandra laughed. "Chief Benson told everyone that you tried to steal from him. Nobody wants to help you. Don't call me again." Faith realized that her friends were only there for the champagne and they were only there for the parties. They never liked him. They only liked her because she was staying with a guy that was loaded. She spent the next 3 days in a deep struggle. She moved to a very poor part of the city. She lived in a house with 10 other people. She had to share a bathroom with strangers. She tried to find a job, but she had no skills. She had spent years just being beautiful. She started working as a waitress, but her feet hurt and the pay was very low. Then she worked in a laundry, washing heavy blankets by hand until her fingers were bleeding. Her beauty faded. She looked tired and thin. Her skin was no longer glowing. She often went to bed hungry. Sometimes she would sit on the floor of her tiny room and remember David. She remembered how he used to bring her a small piece of chocolate every Friday. She remembered how he used to tell her that she was the most important person in the world. "I was so stupid," she whispered to herself. She tried to look for David on the internet at a local cyber cafe. She typed his name, but so many Davids appeared. She did not know if he was still a driver or if he had moved away. She felt like he was a ghost from a different life. 5 years after she had left David, Faith was desperate. She had lost her job at the laundry because the business closed down. She had not eaten a proper meal in 2 days. She was walking down the street when she saw a newspaper on a bench. She opened the jobs section. One advert caught her eye. Wanted live-in housekeeper. Location, Banana Island. Salary, 200,000 naira per month. Must be hardworking, honest and humble. Accommodation and food provided. 200,000 naira was more money than Faith had ever seen in years. Banana Island was the most expensive place in Nigeria. Only the richest of the rich lived there. "I can do this," Faith said. "I have spent years cleaning my own small room and working in the laundry. I know how to clean." And she knew that she could do it. So then she spent her last few coins to wash her best dress, to fix her hair as best as she could. She took a bus to the gates of Banana Island. The security guards looked at her suspiciously, but she showed them the advert. They let her in. She walked past mansions that looked like they were hotels. Finally, she reached house number 24. It was a masterpiece of a nice house. There were 5 luxury SUVs that were parked in the driveway. There was a tall man that was in a uniform who opened the gate. "I am here for the housekeeping interview," Faith said, trying to look confident. The man led him through a garden with a fountain. He took her inside the house. The floors were made of expensive Italian marble. The air condition was so cold he started to shiver. The walls were covered in expensive modern art. "Wait here," the man said. "The boss will see you in a moment." Faith sat on the edge of a velvet sofa. She felt very small. She looked at her rough hands and she felt ashamed. A few minutes later, a door opened. A man walked out. He was tall, dressed in a costume-made blue suit, and wearing a watch that shone like the sun. Faith stood up. The man stopped. His eyes went wide. "Faith," he said. Faith felt as if the world was spinning. The voice was deeper and more confident, and she knew that this was David. David did not look like the tired driver that she had left and abandoned. He looked powerful. He looked successful. He looked like the man that she used to see on the covers of business magazines. Faith could not speak. She just stared at him. "David," she finally whispered. Her voice broke. David walked closer. He looked at her worn-out dress and her tired face. He did not look angry. He looked like he was seeing a stranger. "I heard that you were living in the city with Chief," David said. His voice was calm. He threw me out, David, years ago. I have been struggling. I did not know that this was what was going to happen to me. I did not know that you were going to become all of this," she said as she was pointing around him and her. She looked at the massive house. "How?" she whispered to him. David sat down in a leather chair and crossed his legs. "After you left, I had nothing else to do but work. I finished my coding. I started a small app for delivery logistics, a big company in America, then later bought it for millions of dollars. Then I started another company. Now I employ 500 people." "I'm so happy for you," Faith said, and she meant it. She saw now that David was always a great man, but she was too blind to see his potential. "Why are you here, Faith?" David asked. I saw an advert. I did not know that it was your house. If I had known, I was not going to come. I don't want any trouble. I need a job, just a job. David, I'm starving. I have no home." She started to cry. I'm sorry for everything," I said. "I was a child. I was greedy." David was silent for a long time. He looked at the window and he said, "I loved you more than anything, Faith. When you left, it felt like my heart was being ripped out. I used to stay awake at night wondering what I did wrong. I thought that I was not good enough because I could not buy you the things that you wanted." No, David, you were too good for me," Faith said. "I was the one who was not good enough. I did not see your heart. I only saw your empty pockets." David stooped up and he walked to the window. "I'm married now, Faith. Her name is Mary. She is a doctor. She met me when I was still driving that old van. She helped me study. She believed in me when I had nothing." Faith felt a new kind of a pain. The man who had loved her so much belonged to someone else, someone who was smarter and kinder than her. "I'm not looking for a wife," David said, turning back to her. "I am looking for a maid. My wife is very busy at the hospital, and we need someone to keep this house perfect. The work is very hard. You will have to wake up at 5 a.m. You will scrub these floors. You will wash our clothes. You will cook for our guests. You will not be a guest. You will be a maid, a servant. Do you understand?" Faith looked at David. She saw that the love in his eyes was completely gone. There was only a businessman. "Will you give me the job?" she asked. "Can you do the work?" David replied. "I don't want to pay for beauty, I pay for results." "I will work harder than anyone," Faith promised. "Fine," David said. "Go to the back. The manager will show you the servant quarters. You start tomorrow." Faith moved into a small room at the back of the mansion. It was clean, but it was very simple. It reminded her of the apartment she used to share with David, but even smaller. The irony was painful. She had left a small apartment because she wanted a mansion, but now she was living in a mansion, but she was stuck in a small room again. And this time, she was not the wife, she was the help. Her life became like a cycle of hard work. Every morning she woke up before the sun. She cleaned the massive glass windows. She polished the marble floors until they shone. She ironed David's expensive suits, the same suits she used to dream of him wearing. Sometimes she saw David and Mary together. Mary was a beautiful woman, but she was also very humble. She always said thank you to Faith. She did not know that Faith is David's ex-wife. David had told her that she is just someone that she knew from his old neighborhood who needed help. Watching them like that, this made her to feel so sad. As the years went by, Faith stayed at the house. She became like a member of the extended family, but always knowing her place. She is always warning young girls whenever she meets them. Big men for money will always ruin your life. Look for a man who has a plan. Look for a man who is kind and works hard. Do not look at his car because cars can crash. Look at his heart because a good heart grows bigger every year. Faith never married ever again. She decided to focus on her work and peace. She has realized that the poor husband she once had was actually the richest man she would ever know. And although she started as his wife and ended as his maid, she was grateful for the journey. It took losing everything for her to finally find herself.